everybody was looking up at the air, watching the team, and the first 4 or 5 parachutists coming down. They were heading for the target zone. But then we became aware of one parachute. It just seemed to collapse, and almost instantaneously, the parachute above it managed to hook on to the webbing or the parachute itself. And we were, everyone was aware there was a huge audible gasp went around the crowd because these two guys were heading down to the ground at it was a breakneck speed. It was 2 or 3 times the normal speed of descent. But they were veering over buildings and land and crowds, and to be honest, it was breathtaking to watch the skill of the chap above. He managed to steer with the weight of 2 men and a flailing parachute. He managed to get them safely in the water at the north end of the harbour. It was quite incredible, to be honest.
Absolutely extraordinary scene. And do we know what happened in terms of the parachute malfunction? Parachutists often have a reserve chute. Do we know if that failed as well, or do we have any more details?
The reserve chute didn't fail. What happened was those 2 particular members of the team were about to head into a manoeuvre called a stack, where one appears to stand on top of the other. But as they manoeuvred into position, for some reason, the parachute just seemed to collapse. The webbing of the parachute tangled up around the arms of the lower parachute member, so he was kind of stuck in a rather awful bondage situation, 1,000 feet in the air. But they also realised they were far too close to the ground to pull the reserve chute. The only chance that fella had of living was the skill of his team member, who managed to hook him and steer him to safety in the water.
Amazing. And have you heard what the 2 parachutists did after they landed on the ground? What was their reaction?
Well, I raced up the harbour to see if they're all right. I mean, obviously, you do panic about things like this happening. But the lads came out of the water, and they were aware that we had pie and peas and a pint waiting for them, and that was all they were bothered about. To be honest, it's typical British Army. The guys are so cool, so professional. They actually stood for photographs in dripping wet uniforms. They're just fabulous people, and as I say, I can say it time and time again, but it was absolutely jaw-dropping watching the skill of the guy. I mean, he was really wrestling with a lead weight, but he got them both to safety, and it was just superb.